Hello, everybody. Listen, aren't you guys excited? Look, I'm excited. Can y'all see where I'm at? Yes, I am back here in my studio. Guys, Ghana was a dream. Dream come true. This is my third time actually going to Ghana, and this was the best one of them yet, and I can't wait for what we do next year. We are looking for speakers to actually join us in Ghana. So if you are interested, okay, if you're interested, I'll be giving more details throughout this conference on how to be a part of our community and how then once you're a part of the community, how you could be a part of our events. But listen, this is day number 9, day 9 of New Year, New You. And I'm going to tell you guys, hundreds of registrations, hundreds. And this is why I never, like the numbers never lie. I've been doing this for a long time, y'all. Well, I guess it depends on who I'm talking to. Because some people might be like, it's not that long. It's been 10 years in the coaching space, but I've been an entrepreneur since 1999. So it's been a minute. And one thing I have come to learn is that a large majority of people say they want a thing, but they just simply do not show up. So kudos to those of you guys. In fact, let's give a round of applause. Yes, a round of applause to those of you guys who've registered and who have been showing up. Because honestly, the key to success is not being the smartest. The key to success is not being the most skillful. The key to being success is not being the most beautiful or most handsome. Honestly, it's really to the person who stays excited the longest. So kudos to you. Well, let me go ahead and introduce you guys to our next speaker. Her name is Britteny Bossup. Let me go ahead and break it down. Now, she is a trailblazing force in the realms of wellness, wealth, and transformational healing. As an international keynote speaker, sought after podcaster of Unapologetically Divorced, the founder of Your Transformational Healing and Wealthy Financials, she dedicates her life to helping divorced women rediscover their worth, increase their wealth, and prioritize wellness. Through her work, Britteny empowers women to take control of their financial futures, nurture their mental health, and create lives that they truly desire. Her approach combines practical mental health modalities with profound personal insights, drawing on her own experiences to inspire and uplift. She champions the belief that healing and success start from within and that every woman deserves the opportunity to thrive. Unapologetically. Yes, darling. With her compelling voice and compassionate guidance, Britteny is redefining success for women everywhere, helping them build lasting legacies rooted in wealth and wellness, while empowering women to use their voice and acknowledge their power within. Ladies and gentlemen, Britteny Bossup.
I'm Britteny Bossup, and I help empower divorced mompreneurs to prioritize their mental health so they can redefine their self-worth to heal and move forward. Now, you might be wondering, who is Britteny Bossup? Well, I am a licensed professional counselor. I am a certified wealth and wellness coach. I'm an international keynote speaker, author, and podcaster, and the list goes on and on. But I am so excited today to be talking to you about how to overcome setbacks and thrive. So if you are ready to overcome setbacks and thrive, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. All right. We got some 1s in the chat. That's amazing. That is super, super phenomenal. You guys are here. You're ready to overcome setbacks so you can thrive and live unapologetically free in 2025. Raise your hand Okay, I know everybody can't see you, but I want you to raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have ever had a setback or a challenge that pulls you back and you feel like, you know what, how in the world am I going to keep on going forward? Well, for many of you, that might have been last year. That might have been the year that you said, you know what, I don't know, when am I going to get my breakthrough? But I want you to know that you are here and you are still alive and you're in your right mind for a reason. Because there are so many people who do not wake up to see another day. And being that they did not wake up to see another day, it is time for you to say, you know what? The sky is the limit. And it is time for me to wake up and thrive so I can be the best version of myself. Okay? So today we're going to be talking about how to overcome those setbacks so you can thrive and live unapologetically free in 2025. So before we get into all of that, did you know that 82% of individuals are suffering from the imposter syndrome? That means if we were to look around right here, right now, we would see that majority of us, including ourselves, are suffering from the imposter syndrome. That means you ain't being real. You are not being your authentic self. Now, when I think about authenticity, I think about the real deal. Okay? The real deal. So if we were to take Hispanic food, for example, the real deal is not at Taco Bell or Taco Bueno, right? The real deal is when you go to Hades or you go somewhere where they are cooking, cooking it up, giving the real spices and letting you know that it's real, right? That's the real. And that's what it's time for us all to do, is to be our super, super authentic self. Put a 2 in the chat if you are ready to be authentic in 2025. That means you have to remove the mask. Okay? That means you have to keep it real. You have to keep it 100, and you have to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. If you are ready to be that version of yourself, I want you to put a two in the chat. Okay? And I want you to say, I am ready to thrive. I am ready to be my true authentic self in 2025. All right. We got some 2s in the chat. We got people talking about they ready to thrive, be authentic, be the best version of themselves. Yes, that is what I'm talking about. We want you to thrive, be unapologetically free, and just do what you know you need to do so you can thrive and be the best version of yourself. That's what's important. So when you think about yourself, and when you think about the 82% of people who are suffering from the imposter syndrome, I want you to think about how many times have you ever been in public, you're walking by, somebody says, hey, how are you doing? And you say, oh, I'm good. How about you? But the reality of it is you're not good. You are crying inside. You are hurting because you've gone through so much. But what really happened here is you did not believe that you could trust that person that asked you. Or you might have said, I don't believe that I can tell them what's going on. I don't believe that I can share or take the time, or would they even care? How many times have we ever been there? I want you to put in the chat, say, that's me. That's me. We all have been there if we're being honest with ourselves. We've all been there when we say, you know what? I don't know how in the world I'm going to share this moment with them. Will they even get it? Will they even care? So I'm just going to say good and keep it moving. Or you might be the other person that someone has shared with you something that's going on in their life. And you're like, oh, I don't want to hear this. We've all been there. But the truth of the matter is we have to start actively listening to people. We have to make sure that we are listening to people and we make people feel welcome and appreciated. And there have been so many times in our lives that we've really wanted to share what's really going on, because so many people are dealing with so many mental health challenges, from anxiety to depression, and the list goes on and on. So many people are dealing with so many things in their lives, and they just don't know how they're going to make it. There are people who are in their beds who don't even know how they're going to get out, see another day. They just don't know. Now, if you have children, that pushes you, right? It pushes you to get out of the bed, make sure you continue to do the things that you need to do, get to work, do all these things. But for some people, even then, they're like, I just don't even know how. Or they don't even remember how they're getting from Monday to Friday. How are they getting from here to there? Because there's so much, they're weighted down. That's why I always tell people, make sure you check on your strong friends because you don't ever know. They put on this tough exterior like everything's good, but in reality, they're not good. They're not good in any form or fashion. They put on a smile with everybody around. But when they go home and close that door, or when they put the kids to bed, they are crying themselves to sleep. So make sure if you feel a nudge to check on a friend or check on somebody, make sure that you always do that. Always check on them because you don't never know. That might be the moment where they say, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired. I've had enough. I'm about to lose it. Because we all have been there if we're going to be honest. So I want you guys to think about social media. How many times have you been on social media, saw somebody post something that you and your family know ain't real? Put a 3 in the chat if you'd have never seen that. Because I know I have. I'm like, wait a minute. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Wait a minute, right? We all have been there. We've all seen somebody or even ourselves. We post the good and really it's bad. It's bad, right? But because we don't want to share the bad, or I've seen it where people might share the bad and people are like, oh, don't get on here with that negativity. But the reality of it is in life, if we look for positives, we're going to find positives. Just like we look for problems, we're going to find problems. But if we're willing to look for solutions, we will find those solutions. And that is something that I share with a lot of my clients. Again, if we look for problems, you're going to find them. But if you look for solutions, you will find them. So it's important, it's imperative for you to make sure that you do everything that you can possibly do. Give your very best and just do what you need to do. And make sure that, hey, am I looking for a solution or am I looking for problems? Because I promise you, if you look for solutions in your life, you are going to win. Okay? So Will Demetrio said, he once said, to be authentic is you being your true self. Authenticity cannot be replicated. And I love this quote because it really identifies the importance of understanding that in order to be authentic, you have to be yourself. Just be yourself. It cannot be replicated. If you try to be someone else, then that's when you're going to have problems. But the truth of the matter is you have to focus on being yourself. And if you're being yourself, then you don't have to worry about, did they like me? Did they not like me? Because that's part of rediscovering your worth. When you know who you are and whose you are, you don't care if other people don't like you or if they don't embrace you. Because the reality of it is you know that I'm good. And that means those are not the people that need to be around you. Period. As they say, period. I want y'all to put that in the chat. Say, period. Okay? All right. Now, before we get into overcoming setbacks, so that way you can unapologetically thrive, I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself. Is that okay? All right. All right. Yeah. All right. So a little bit about myself. From Dallas, Texas area. Grew up here. I'm the oldest in my family on my mom's side. And then I'm actually the baby on my dad's side. And so I met my dad when I was like my junior year in high school. I didn't know who he was and all that good stuff. And then I had my dad that raised me growing up. I found out at the age of 12 that he was not my biological father. And I don't know if anyone's listening to this, but if you grow up thinking that one person is your father and you find out that's not your father, that just does something to you, right? You know, you're grateful for the father that you have, but you have so many questions. Okay, I want y'all to type the question mark in the chat. Questions, right? And we've all been there in our life. It might not have been that situation that you've gone through, but there's some things that have happened in your life that you've had some questions. We've all been there. But, like, what do you do? When you're a child, you sweep under the rug and you keep going. Because if the adults in your life don't give you the answers, what can you do, right? You're grateful to have a roof over your head. You're grateful for the things that you have, but you keep pushing, you keep moving. And so that we don't realize a lot of time is that our childhood sets the precedence for our adulthood. Because when things happen in our lives, we have questions and we don't get the answers. A lot of times we keep moving. We keep sweeping it under the rug, sweeping it under the rug, sweeping it under the rug until eventually that rug does not lay flat anymore. How many of you guys have ever been there? I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you've ever been there at a time in your life where you have just swept things under the rug and you keep sweeping, and now that rug is so high, you got to walk around it. But eventually, if you don't deal with your problems are going to deal with you. Period. So, growing up, I was the oldest in my family. I dealt with a lot of emotional and mental abuse, mental, physical abuse, a lot of that. But when I look back at my life, I just really, truly thank the Lord because that prepared me for the woman I am today. I went through a lot of those things, and I would have never became a licensed counselor had I not gone through a lot of the things that I've gone through. I have a lot of clients, they come to me, they tell me about a lot of the issues that they have with their parents, with their family, and I understand it. Been there, done that. I get it. I understand it. I no judgment here. But a lot of times we don't realize that the storm, that is what is preparing us for our greatest destiny. I want y'all to type that in the chat. Say, my storm is preparing me for my greatest destiny. Again, my storm is preparing me for my greatest destiny. And everything that I have been through in my life, it has prepared me for where I am today. And so now when we're going through the storm, we don't see that, right? When you're getting beat on and things happening, you're like, well, dang, I'm trying the hardest I can, to be the best I can. I'm making straight A's. I'm doing all of that. I feel like I'm doing everything right that I could possibly do. I'm taking care of my siblings, and the list goes on and on. And I'll never forget one day, my mom had some chicken in the fridge, and she went in the fridge, didn't see her chicken. She asked where her chicken was. I told the truth. I was trying to be my authentic self, y'all. I was like, I didn't eat it. And next thing I know, I got beat for that chicken. And I'll never forget my dad coming in, my father that raised me, and he snatched the belt out of her hand. And, I just remember in that moment just being so confused because I'm like, I told the truth. And here I am getting beat down on the ground over a piece of chicken that I didn't even eat. Oh, some chicken? Like, chicken, really? But how many of us realize that when we become an adult, we look back and we realize, oh, wow, it wasn't about the chicken. It never was about the chicken. I realized it was more about my biological dad, and I didn't even know that. But I had to do the work to figure that out. And so I said that story to tell you that there are times that things are going to happen in your life that you really just don't understand. You're trying to be the best version of yourself. Each and every day you wake up and you keep going and you put a smile on your face and you keep going. And you're not understanding because remember, you have lots of questions. I want y'all to put the question mark in the chat. We have lots of questions, but we keep moving forward and we keep doing the things that we know we need to do. So fast forward, got past the chicken situation, and you keep moving. Because what are you going to do, right? In those situations. But one thing I just couldn't understand was if you love me the way that you say that you love me, why do you keep doing the things that you keep doing to me? But then that's when I realized that it had nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. So I graduated, top of my class when I went off to college. And just phenomenal, went to the military, got married at the age of 23, have 4 beautiful, amazing children. But how many of us know that you can do all the things that seem like they're right, and you still are trying to figure out, who are you? Who are you? Because one thing I didn't realize is that I never got the chance to figure out, who am I? I went through a lot in my childhood. I went through a lot in my adulthood, young adult, adulthood. And a lot of times those cycles, they repeat themselves. That's why it's important to take the time to talk to your parents and know their background, because I didn't even know a lot of the things that were happening in my life were a lot of the things that were repeated cycles, whether it was dealing with child custody or dealing with divorce or dealing with so many different things. And if you don't take the time to see your worth, you're going to wrap your worth up in the identity of titles, which is what I did. When I went through my first divorce, I didn't know who I was anymore. I was like, okay, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. Now I'm not those, I'm still a mom, but I was like, I'm not a wife anymore. And that's what I dedicated all of my time and my energy to. And then I realized that, okay, now it's time for you to rediscover yourself. What is it that you enjoy? What is it that you like? Who are you? And it's in the midst of taking the walk of understanding that cycles repeat themselves until you break the cycle, because you cannot change people. You cannot. That is one thing I learned in the military. as you see different individuals dealing with mental health issues where they can't have their shoestrings for fear that they're going to tie themselves up, and they can't sleep with sheets because of fear that they're going to hang themselves. That's when things get real. And that allowed me to really understand the importance of mental health. And if you don't prioritize your mental health, what can you do? And so as you walk the journey of your life, I want you to understand that nothing has happened to you by mistake. Nothing. There are so many things that have happened to me in my life. When I look back, I'm like, why did you not see the signs? Why didn't you see the red flags? Why didn't you just walk away? Why didn't you? But I realized that God has a special covering and protection on me, just like He has it for you too. And when you have a destiny that you have in place for yourself, when there's a destiny for you and you know that calling is so much bigger than yourself, oh my goodness, the sky is the limit. And when you know that, it's like it's certain people that they'll try to attach themselves to you, but they just can't because you have this special calling. It's just like going to work every day. You know, we've all had jobs, we've all had positions and things that we've held. And there's certain people, they're okay. They're okay with showing up every day and just showing up every day. But every single position I've ever had, I knew there was something more inside of me. I want you to put a 5 in the chat if you know that's you. If you know that God has something greater in store for you. Because I've been there, I've done that over and over, and I'm like, what is it? I just don't know what it is. And so as a mom, a lot of times we get so wrapped into everybody else but ourselves. I'll never forget one time I went to the doctor's office, my blood pressure was sky high, and the nurse took my blood pressure and she read it out and she said, "Whoa, why is your blood pressure so high?" And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I got mad at her. I was like, why, first of all, why is she so loud? Why is she telling my business? Everybody can hear in between the walls. I'm like, what? Excuse me? And how many of us do that? We get mad at the very people in our lives who are supposed to help us, that are trying to help us. They want us to be better. And I'll never forget just walking out of there just in tears and just crying. But I didn't make a change because it's like, what do I do? This is what I do. I'm taking care of everybody. I'm doing everything. I'm doing all these things. The list goes on and on, from entrepreneurship to working full time to taking care of the kids to running your business to you name it. The list goes on and on. So I'm like, where can I get a break? I'll get a break one day. I just don't know when. But I remember one day having a conversation with one of my aunts, and like she told me, she said, Brittany, your childhood happened to you, and that was out of your control. And I'm sorry for that. But your adulthood, you have a choice. And me hearing those words was all I needed to hear in order to make a change for my life. Have y'all ever met somebody and every time you meet them, they got something going on? It's always something, right? What was in that moment that I had to realize that I have the power to determine how I want my life to be designed. I want y'all to type that in the chat. Say, I have the power to design the life that I desire. You have the power, but it starts with you. It starts with you. And so this is why today we're going to talk about how to overcome setbacks so you can unapologetically thrive and be the best version of yourself. Because this is 2025 and it's time for you to live the life that you desire. All right. So I want y'all to put a 1 in the chat if you are ready. Are you ready? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So let's get into it. All right. So number 1, the first thing we have to do is to stop the imposter syndrome. I want y'all to type stop in the chat. Say stop. Okay. First thing we have to do is to stop the imposter syndrome. Okay. Then the second thing we have to do is to mentally break free. Okay, I want y'all to do that with me. Say mentally break free. All right. And then the third thing we have to do is tap in. So I want y'all to tap in with me. Tap into the 5 A's. All right. All right. So when it comes to stopping the imposter syndrome, it starts with the 3 C's. Okay. That means we have to choose, we have to clarify, and we have to create. Okay, we have to choose, we have to clarify, and we have to create. Okay, now you might say, choose what? Create what? Clarify what? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, but bear with me. Okay, so I want y'all to type it in the chat. I want y'all to type choose, clarify, and create. Okay, when we start with choosing, we have to choose. You have to first make up your mind, because it starts with your mind, that you're going to choose yourself. Okay, you have to make up your mind that I am going to choose myself. Okay, that's not selfish. That's not selfish at all. It's just like when you're on an airplane, when they tell you if this plane go down, you better put your mask on first, right? Because if your mask is not on, you're gonna suffocate. You can't help nobody else. And so the reality of it is we have to take the time to take care of ourselves. And so many times we take care of everybody else. We do try to knock out everything on the to-do list. How many of us have had a to-do list and we get that to-do list done every single day? Nobody. Nobody, okay? Nobody has gotten their to-do list done every single day for a whole year. Nobody has. And so the reality of it is we can put all these things on the list, but that list does not define who you are. It does not define your self-worth. It does not define you. And so that's why it's imperative that you understand that you have to choose yourself. You have to choose you, okay? So once you have chosen yourself, then that allows you to clarify, okay? Clarifying is you clarifying your purpose. What is it? Because like I was telling y'all my story, I was like, okay, I knew there was something more inside of me. I knew it was, but I just didn't know what. And that's how I know that everything, every position, whether I was in the classroom, out of the classroom, whether I was school counselor, licensed counselor, coach, whatever it is, everything has happened to me the way that it has to get me prepared for this very moment today. And I'm grateful for it. Because had I not gone through all those things, how could I help my clients? How can I help the people that need the help, who are crying themselves to sleep at night, who are dealing with these mental health challenges? And people tell them that they're crazy and they know they're not. No. So after you have understood the importance of choosing yourself, okay, clarifying your purpose. But once you understand your purpose, oh man, you good to go. I'll never forget when I hosted my first self-care retreat, and we're all sitting around and, you know, the ladies are sharing and they're doing all these things. And you literally see the darkness on one young lady lift up off of her, and you see the light. And she was crying and she was sharing her story. When recently she was like, I ain't telling nobody my business. I don't know these ladies. And when I tell you to know that you are fulfilling your purpose, it's priceless. It's priceless. It's almost like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? When he was telling his speech, I have a dream. Like he's for walking and fulfilling his purpose. Short-lived, but he was fulfilling his purpose. And when you are in your purpose, it don't matter what people say to you. Can't nobody stop you from fulfilling your purpose. And so I said all that to tell you whatever it is, and you know who you are. If you're like, I'm doing all these things, I don't know what it is, because I've been there. I've done that. Okay. Any business you tell me about, I've done all of that. Okay. I've done it all. But I wasn't fulfilled. And I wasn't fulfilled because I was looking for the thing that could fill the holes in my life, the holes in my life, which were not being loved properly. And that's nobody's fault. Nobody's fault. But the reality of it is everything goes back to your childhood. And so when I realized that, oh, my childhood is where I was missing a lot of holes, the only person that can go back and fill those holes is me having that connection with God. I can't look for somebody else to fill that hole for me. And so I said that to you to say, what are the holes in your life? Meaning you're keeping yourself busy for what? What are you trying to avoid by keeping yourself busy, by always being with the kids, always doing all these things that you know that need to be done, but not right then? It makes no sense. Every day we get up and we're going till we lay down at night. Every single day. It makes no sense. We can't take 5 minutes for ourselves. And that's something, I want y'all to type in check, take 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes for yourself. That's it. Then over time, you'll increase it more and more and more. And so I said that to say this because so many times I meet with people and they say, you know, oh, I just have to do this. I just have to. Do you really? Because I've been in your shoes. I've been there where I thought I had to do everything. I thought I did. But the reality of it is no, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to. You don't have to. So once you have chosen yourself, you have clarified your purpose, now it's time for you to create the life you desire. So I want y'all to type that in the chat with me. Say, I have the power to create the life I desire. I have the power to create the life I desire. And if you know that, then you're not going to put up with all the things that you should not be putting up with. If it doesn't align with where you're headed, where you are and where you're headed, then it's a no. And it's okay to say no. I want y'all to type that in the chat. Say, just say no. Just say no. It's okay to just say no, okay? So if you know that, that helps you to say, you know what, this is my life. I get to live life on my terms. And it's okay. You don't owe anybody any type of explanation for living life on your own terms, okay? And so the minute that you know that you get to live life on your own terms, you'll start to walk differently. You'll start to talk differently. When you go in rooms, you will command the room because now you walk with authority. You know who you are. You know whose you are. Okay? You have rediscovered your self-worth and you're great. But you can't do that if you don't take the time to have quiet time, quiet your mind, mindfulness, meditation, doing the things that you need to do for yourself daily. I mean, just think about yourself. What good are you to your children or anybody, your spouse, anybody, if you are not taking good care of yourself? Been there, done that so many times. And I'll tell you one thing, I will definitely take prioritizing myself and my mental health over being overwhelmed, feeling burnout, feeling like I just need a break, feeling like I'm about to snap. Or what they say, go out, pop out. Because you're dealing with so much, you're human. And we all need time to ourselves. And that's why it's so important to really tap into yourself and know who you are. Okay? So those are the 3 C's. Those are the 3 C's of how you get over the imposter syndrome. Okay? You have to choose yourself. You have to create the life that you desire. Okay? And you have to clarify your purpose, okay? Once you have clarified your purpose, you've chosen yourself, and you have created the life that you desire, now you're good, okay? Now that allows us to go into our second one, to mentally break free, all right? I want you to type in the chat, say mentally break free, okay? In order to mentally break free, it starts with our mind, okay? We have to understand that we have a mind for a reason, okay? Our mind is a wall. And your wall has a door on it, okay? So I want y'all to close your eyes with me, okay? So I want you to close your eyes and I want you to envision, okay? Your mind is a wall and there's a door there, okay? You get to choose who you allow to come in that door and go out that door. You get to choose. Now I want you to think about words, positive words, okay? Positive words, we want to open that door and we want to let all the positive words in. Positivity, right? Because if I allow the positivity to come in, guess what? I'm going to think positively, okay? So allow positivity to come on in, okay? Because the more I fill myself up with positivity, the more I'm going to be filled with positivity. The more people come around me with negativity, I'm going to have nothing but positive words to say, right? Because I'm filled up with positivity. But if it's a lot of negativity going on, I don't want to let that in, right? But just think about that person who allows negativity to enter in. Guess what? It can't help it. It's got to come out of you, right? So the more negativity you allow in, the more when people come to you and they say something that's negative, you letting it out, right? You letting it out, right? And so you have to understand that you have the power to choose, okay? So now I want you to open your eyes. And I want you to type in the chat, say, I have the power to choose. Meaning you get to choose what type of music you listen to. You get to choose who you surround yourself around. Because my thing is this, why am I going to keep showing up if you always negative, right? If you're always negative, you always got something bad to say, nothing uplifting, then that is nobody's fault but yours if you keep going around them, period. Period. There's something about titles, and that's something that I talk to a lot of my clients about. Just because somebody wears a certain title in your life, that does not mean that you have to keep allowing them to abuse you, whether it's mentally or physically. You don't have to keep allowing that. And so the minute you wake up and say, just because you have this title, I'm not going to keep putting up with that. I'm not. I will not. Okay? That's when you get to understand, like, okay, I'm setting a boundary for my life. I am picking what I need to allow in and what I need to allow out. And so the minute we understand that our mind is a wall and it has a door, and we can choose to open that door, we can choose to close that door. The choice is yours. But the minute we understand that, we will begin to feel so much better, so much more powerful and impactful, because now we understand, like, I do have the power. Like, I don't have to listen to the things that are not bringing me joy. I don't have to listen to things that are going to tear me down. You don't have to do that. And I think it's time for us to realize that. Like, no, I have the power within me. And even if you're listening right now and you say, I don't have no power. I don't, you keep talking about power and I don't know what you're talking about because I ain't got it. I want you to keep telling yourself, make that a part of your affirmations of, I have power. I have power within me, okay? And so in order to understand your power, that means you have to first start to own your story, okay? So I want y'all to type that in the chat, say, I own my story. I own my story. So if you own your story, that means you're not going to allow what somebody says to you to destroy you. Because how many of us know when you're on your way, moving up in life, people gonna always try to pull you back and remind you of the old you. They're gonna try to remind you of that person that you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They're gonna try to bring up stuff that you be like, dang, I don't even remember that even happening. Did that happen? I put that so far back. But I'm telling you, we've all been there, right? And the reality of it is, that's how you know you're on the right track, because people are going to keep bringing things up, right? And it's kind of interesting that people never bring up the good, right? They always got something negative to say that you did, you know, remember we was doing this or you did this or whatever. And the reality of it is you have to own your story, because I've seen some people, the difference between the person who's able to dig themselves out of the mud and keep going and the other person who stays stuck in the mud, the difference is it starts in the mindset. I want y'all to type that in, mindset. It starts with the mindset. Okay, the mindset is one person, the person that stays stuck, say, you know what, that did happen. And I feel so bad about it. And I guess I can't bring other people or help win souls or help do these things because that's what I did. And the reality of it is, if I have anybody who is God-fearing or God-centered, and if you read the Bible, or if you believe and you know about the story about Saul, I mean, come on. He killed people, ended up in jail for killing Christians, okay? Killing people, right? Left and right. And then he was converted to Paul. And so what that means is that don't allow yourself to be stuck because of your past, okay? You do not allow other people to put you in a box. And we've all been there. We've allowed people to put us in a box. until we realize, like, who are you to put me in a box? You don't have a heaven or hell for me. So how can I allow you to put me in a box? We all have things that we are skeletons, as I like to say, right? We all have skeletons. But the difference between that person who stays stuck and that person that keeps moving forward is that person that says, you know what, I own it. It happened, I did it, it is what it is, and I'm gonna keep moving. I'm not gonna allow my past to hold me back because I know that my future is so much brighter and so much greater. And that's what it's all about, of knowing that what's in store for me is so much greater. And I'm not going to allow what you say or you say or you say to keep me stuck. So now I want y'all to type that in the chat. I want you to type a 7 in the chat if you said, I am walking in my completion season and I am not going to allow what anyone says, thinks, or does to hold me back. So put a 7 in the chat if that is you. All right. So then it comes down to you affirming yourself. Okay. You have to give yourself affirmations. Say, I am God's masterpiece. I am fearfully and wonderfully made whole. I am amazing. I am beautiful. Okay. Because the thing is, you have to affirm yourself. You have to clap for yourself. Because if you don't clap for yourself and if you're waiting on other people to clap for you, I'm going to let you know right now, you're going to be very disappointed. Because if you are waiting for other people to clap their hands for you, before you even start celebrating yourself, that's a problem. And so one thing I realized for myself is I never celebrated myself. And this is why I'm so big on celebrating, because I never did that. I never had that. Like, I don't even know what that was like. I just believe you keep going and you keep going. I would try harder and try harder, doing the most that I could so I could get recognized and get seen, right? Because if you keep doing and you keep doing for your parents, eventually they're going to see you, right? Or at least that's what you think. And so you keep doing that. And that's what makes you a people pleaser. And so we have to stop people pleasing. We have to start affirming ourselves and knowing that, okay, I have to do the things that matter the most to me because that's what I really, truly desire to do. Not because somebody else wants you to do it. And so how many times in your life have you done that? You said yes when you really need to say no. And you just found yourself doing something that you didn't want to do to begin with. We all have been there, right? Put a 3 in the chat if that has ever been you. You said yes when you really need to say no. Now you're mad and you're upset because you're here and you didn't want to do it. And now you're like, oh my goodness, right? We all have been there. We've all have been there. We've all done it. We all have been there. And so if that's you, you have to remember, like Michelle Obama said, you have to choose you. When are you going to choose you? It starts with you. So now that takes us into tapping into the 5 A's. Everybody type in, say tap in, tap in, tap in. All right. I want you to tap into the 5 A's. And this is where we get a little deeper. We're talking about your childhood, right? All right. So childhood, there are 5 A's when we think about your childhood. Okay. The first one is acceptance. Were you accepted as a child? Period. Were you accepted as a child? And you will know you're accepted because you were allowed to be yourself. Okay, we don't get to pick and choose what families we're born into, right? We don't get to choose that. But did they accept you for being yourself? Did they accept you? Okay? Did they? And a lot of people will realize, like, wow, I was never accepted in my childhood. And you'll know that because of the way that you carry yourself. If you're constantly looking for validation and other people and everything, that's because you were never accepted. You felt like nothing you did was ever good enough. And so that's why it's time for you to say, no, this is my time to shine. I get to pick and choose to be in areas where I can be accepted. And if I'm not being accepted, I don't have to sit at your table. Okay? You get to create your own table of other people who are in community like you, who want to thrive and rise and be a part of a great community with other women who want to do something and will accept you for being who you are. And that's what my community is all about. It's being around women who want to thrive and rise and just be amazing and understand that you might not have been accepted in your childhood, but you are accepted now. And that is worth clapping for and congratulating people for because they are accepted, okay? All right. So number one is accepted. Number two is affection. Were you shown affection in your childhood? Meaning, were you loved? And because you were loved properly, do you know how to give love? And this is where so many people fall at. My men and my women here, because they might not have been loved properly as a child. And so now here they are in adulthood, dropping the ball. But how can we say you're dropping the ball if you've never been taught how to properly hold the ball, right? And so that's why we have to be willing to give each other grace and understand where you are, but you have to be real and be willing to get the help. And that's where a lot of people, they don't realize that they need to get help, or they're very ethnocentric, thinking that everything is the way that it was for them growing up, not realizing that no, that might have been what it was for you, but that's not how it is for a lot of people. Okay? All right. So after we realize where you accepted, where you shown affection, okay, then it goes to where you're allowed to truly be yourself, okay? When you walked in rooms where they're like, don't walk like that, don't talk like that, don't wear your head like that, don't, da, da, da. The list goes on and on, right? Were you allowed to just truly be yourself? I remember as a child, I did not like wearing shorts for nothing. And I remember my mom would be like, go put your shorts on. And it was just like, oh my gosh, right? I just did not like wearing shorts, right? But for you, it might be something different. You might have realized that you just were not allowed to be yourself on so many different levels. Like, why do you talk like that? Why do you this? Why do you that? And now you constantly hear that in your head and you're an adult and you're like, ugh, it's like everything is, all I hear is that voice. Because we don't realize that all it takes is one word, one sentence, something that someone said to us, and boom, now it's constantly replaying. And here you are, an adult, constantly living and reliving those moments back in your childhood. Okay? So we have accepted, affection, allowed, were you shown attention? That's important. This one right here gets so many people. Okay. Were you shown attention by those who you loved and valued the most in your childhood? Or were your parents too busy doing everything else but spending time with you? Were they working too much? And we understand, parents, you have to work and you have to pay the bills. Been there, done that. Like I tell people all the time, I'm a recovering workaholic. Okay. I will work. All right. But I thank God that I have been delivered from that. So for you, what was it if that your adults in your life, where did they drop the ball at on showing you the attention that you needed? Because now you're an adult and now you're looking for attention in other people. And then you have to realize that other people cannot give you attention. They cannot give it to you. They cannot. Not like you need it. It's not their responsibility to fill in a hole. You have to do that work yourself. Then that takes us to appreciation, okay? Were you appreciated? Did people appreciate you for being you? Did people say thank you? Or just acknowledge your presence and just appreciate being around you when you were around? Did they appreciate that? Or were they like, oh. Did you feel like everything you did, nothing was good enough? Nothing. And that's why you're constantly walking on eggshells, or you don't like confrontation because you want to be appreciated. You were never appreciated. You were never allowed to be yourself. So you're always walking on eggshells because internally you're having this dialogue that goes on and on and on and on and on. But it's not coming out here because of the way that you grew up. And so really it's about you getting to know yourself, digging deep to determine your true self-worth so you can heal and move forward. Okay? I want y'all to type that in the chat. Say heal and move forward. All right. So what I want you guys to do is I want everybody to close their eyes with me. Please close your eyes with me. And I want you to imagine a life where you are being your true, authentic self. We know that we can't control what happens to us, but we can control our reactions to it. We know that happiness is based on what happens to us. And we know that joy is internal. And I want you to envision your life, living a life full of no regrets. You are the best version of yourself. You're thriving. You're around a community of women who are thriving and rising to the occasion. You are no longer putting yourself in circles where you just don't belong. But now you're able to take back the life that you desire. You have the power to choose yourself. You have the power to create. You have the power to just be you. You are owning your story. You tapped into the 5 A's. You know we can't go back and change the past. But this point forward, I'm going to choose me. I'm going to date myself. I'm going to appreciate myself. I'm going to clap for myself. You are at a place in your life where you're no longer people-pleasing. And you are living your life according to your own terms. Who said mothers can't have breaks? Who said that? You are now showing your children what it looks like to be happy, full of joy, to be whole, to be healed, and to move forward. And that type of life is priceless. So as we come to a close, I want you to make sure that you have registered for New Year, New Year, New You, New Year, New You. You have registered so that way you can get admission to my masterclass and my checklist on self-care tips that you can practice daily to be the best version of yourself. And one thing that I want to leave you guys with is what John Mason said. He said, everyone is born an original. So don't die a copy. And this quote resonates with me so much because we're all born unique. So why are you trying to be like somebody else? That's like trying to push a circle in a square or a square inside of that circle. That peg, it just is not going to fit because the square is for the square and the circle is for the circle. And so if you are listening to this today, make sure you connect and find your tribe. This is your season for you to win and be the best version of yourself. Don't keep going another year, repeating the same thing, being in the same place and trying to figure out why. Just know that you don't have to do it alone. So again, make sure you're registered for this conference and make sure that you are living your best life on your own terms because you deserve to be the best version of yourself. This is your year. Yes, and you have the power to be the best version of yourself. You are a winner.
Hey you guys, so listen, wasn't Brittany amazing? Drop in the chat if she was great. And also do not forget, you have less than an hour to go into the Facebook event chat. We have been emailing you the link. You must be registered, so you should have received the actual link that takes you directly to the Facebook event chat. Drop in the chat one takeaway. And also do not forget, this Sunday, this Sunday, we'll be having our very first live panel session. Now, we're going to be doing giveaways. If you want to enter to win some of these giveaways, you must be joining us live on the YouTube link that we actually email to you. Now, some of you guys watch on Facebook and things like that, but you're going to need to watch via YouTube, okay? We're going to have our panel there. You're going to be there. And we're going to be doing some giveaways. So make sure this Sunday that you plug in. Now, little special, guess what? Tonight, we're also going to do a giveaway. I'm giving away $100 cash money direct to your Cash App or PayPal. All you need to do is make sure that you are registered and join us live. I'm going to send you guys the link. Also, make sure for everybody who's been plugged in, I'm giving a gift to every single one of you that are joining us live. If you've been plugged in over the past 8-9 days, you may get an opportunity to win another special gift, every single one of you guys, directly from me to you, to thank you for staying plugged in. I literally give you a reward for showing up. And 80-90% of success is showing up. So I'm giving you a reward for showing up. So it's a win-win for you. All right, you guys. Well, listen, go ahead and put what you took away over in the Facebook event chat. I'll see you guys at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Deuces. Ladies and gentlemen, listen up.
Are you ready to make 2025 your year?
Are you registered for the 8th annual New Year, New You conference?
This free virtual event is packed with daily inspiration, expert advice, and amazing giveaways.
For 7 years, we have done this event with thousands of people showing up virtually from all over the world.
It's easy to join. Just head to newyearnewyouconference.com and register for free. All you have to do is register and show up to win. Want even more chances to win? Complete a few simple steps. It's all free. Don't miss your chance to kick off 2025 with big prizes and even bigger opportunities. Register now at newyearnewyouconference.com. Your year of transformation starts here.